What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. So, we're going to go over something for casuals. The mathematical law of diminishing marginal returns. So, I'm going to go ahead and respec my skill points here, and we'll get into this, alright? This is what we're going to do for people. Okay, I'm just going to go to my stat points, and I have 397 skill points, right? Now, I'm a healer. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the details with the other stuff today, where you should be allocating points. We're going to go over the basics. Okay? So, there's a mathematical law called diminishing marginal returns, right? It applies to percentage-based math. Now, anytime you have percentage-based math that's invested, you are subjected to the law of diminishing marginal returns. There's no question about it. It's why it's called a mathematical law. Now, in this game, some things we cannot control when it comes to the diminishing returns, because the devs set the parameters inside the gear, inside your allies, inside your artifacts, so on and so forth. But you can actually still see the diminishing return into your SP, which is your skill point allocation. How? Well, that's a very good question. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus hybrid. Why? Because we're going to get 5% into our restoration. Right? It's also going to give us 10% might, and we're going to get a restore for doing weapon attacks. Now, of course, we have caps. As you can see, we have adjusted caps. So we're going to go ahead and take 20 points into our critical healing. Because why? Because we're a healer. All right. So it would make sense that we also go ahead and allocate all of these points into the critical healing magnitude. Now, so we will do that accordingly. This is where things start getting tricky, because I want you to notice something. At 5 points, we're going to get 1%. 1% for 5 points. It seems kind of, simplistic, right? So we put in 5, and we're going to get that adjustment into our restoration. So now we're at 63. Okay? So it's pretty simple. We're at 63. Now, we go back in here, and it specifically says if you invest another 5 points, that's a cumulative of 10, you'll get another percent. Okay? Makes sense again. So we're going to go ahead and allocate that. And then we're going to come back into this, and we're at 63.6. So 63.6. Let's keep remembering this. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So it's like, well, if you add another 5 points, we'll give you another percent. And you can see it specifically says what it breaks down to: 92 points into the restoration. It's pretty simplistic. They pretty much spell it out for you right there. Alright, so we go ahead and we do that. We go back in to our stats, and now we're at 64. Okay, makes sense. Alright, this part makes perfect sense, but it goes up to 20. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to allocate that extra 5 points. Now here's where things change. So with 5 points up until 20 points allocated. But notice what it does. Now to get 1%, right, we need to invest more. Right? We need 10 points now instead of 5. So it's doubled. Our investment to yield a percent has doubled. Okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. So we add the other 10 points. All right. Now, same thing. Add 10 more points. Get another percent. Oh, okay. We look down here. Add 10 more. Okay. Sounds good. And it'll keep going until what? Till we hit 100 points. So let's go ahead and just add another 50 points. All right. Now, at this point, we don't see this, how many points we need, because it blinks out right there, right? I don't know why it does that. So, but it does. So, but we'll just take a look. So we're at 67,208. Okay, so 67,208. We'll go back into the stat points and we'll add 10 points. So 67,208. All right, now we come back in. So we're at 67,209. So we're still getting a 10-point increment past this point. Oops. Not what I wanted to do. So at this point, you're like, okay, let's keep going. All right, but notice something happened after that. What just happened? The 10 points didn't adjust our restoration. Didn't adjust it. 10 points, 10 skill points did not make a difference. Right? Okay, so we'll add another 10. Did it make a difference? No, because we're still at 10%, or 487. Let's add another. Did it make a difference? Now it did. Now we're at 560. Okay? So you see that the percentage doesn't go up. We're only getting the increments of 560, but that 10% is still 10%. Okay, so let's add 20. I like just doing visuals. So we're still have that 10%. So the 10% is a cap of what our max, what no matter how much, we're only going to get 10%. Let's add 1 point. Well, we get that. So let's go ahead, come in here, and we see our restoration's at 679. Okay, 679. So let's just add a point. Will it go up? Will it go up with 1 point allocated? No. All right. Maybe I need the 5 points. Maybe we need to round that up. All right. There it goes. 68. Okay. So we're now at 6,800. But as you keep climbing, you'll notice you keep getting not as much out of it. Now, here's the deal. Let's take a look at my power here for a minute. 1,304, right? Now, rather than keep getting a 10%, adjustment for X amount of points allocated, I can use the same principle to apply a 20 into my power. And now we get an adjustment. Same thing with health. 0.86. I'll make sure, hold on, what the last word is. 1863. 193. So we're getting better stat adjustments for less points allocated initially into our other stat location because of the law of diminishing marginal return. So basically, at some point, I'm going to get less and less out of this because of the allocation, because of the law of diminishing marginal return, because it's percentage-based math that's invested. The only thing that offsets the law of diminishing marginal returns are what we call indifferent values. So, as a healer, I mainly heal. So, of course, I want to always keep putting into our restoration, but at what point does it become very, very, minute? Well, I would actually say at some point in time, let's say you go ahead 35 and we got 200 into it, right? Our restoration is at 688, right? And we get a percentage based off of what? Our artifacts, okay? So 10% of our health, when we use a heal, is going to be based on our restoration. Case in point, we have a 19.3 health. Okay, so we're going to enter the combat. Look at it, and we get the percentage modifier adjustment due to the passive. Now this is what we call accumulative scaling, right? So we're going to get accumulative scaling based on passive applications due to artifacts in this game, right? So it's cumulative scaling, but we got to keep in mind at some point in time, these effects don't stack. So if we had two healers, it wouldn't actually be beneficial for both healers to use an artifact that does not stack. That becomes ineffective. So we go back to the question. When we're allocating points accordingly, and let's say somebody uses a artifact that scales off the max health, like the UG. Let me come over here. Oh, of course, I don't have super speed. Oh, shit. Alright, we'll get it. Just should put it in, but oh well. So we're going to go over to Constantine. I'm going to go show you guys a trick. Now, DPS would typically run an artifact. Oh, thanks, John. An artifact like is it in my bag? It's probably in my bag. So let me check, because John won't tell me anything that's in my bag. We do. So this artifact will scale might up to 2% of our max health. Okay. Now, we're applying max health to our party when we're using a group heal. Now, if this roll is in damage, it doubles. So they get a 4% increase, right? But who has the most health typically? Tanks. So if you use an off-tank in DPS format with this health and the other affected artifacts, like the Star Heart Fragment, along with the controller artifact, which is the Entwined Rings of Azar, excuse me by the way, you're stacking a health buff to your party. Add that with the Dilisteel, right? So you have 3 effects that are stacking max health. But as a healer, becomes more beneficial to me for that passive application to be allocated into my health for that buff to be applied and not reallocated into my restoration because the law of diminishing marginal returns. Right? Because if I go ahead and I look at my restoration again, we have a 68.8. Okay? So we come back in and we say, you know what? I'm going to put another 10 points in. Okay. Alright. And we get the 6.9. Alright, so every 10 points after we have this cap. Right? But on the health bar, what aren't we maxed out at? We're not maxed at a 10%. Thus, we're ineffectively hindering a buff that's being applied that has accumulative scaling. So by allocating the extra 80 points into this, right, we're maxed now at the 10% along with the allocation of the cap. So we're actually getting a better boost by pushing this up to its maximum potential of 10%. So now when we come back into this, we see our health is now at 205,000. Okay, now we're going to go back into the target dummy, apply the heal, and we will see the associated scaling rise higher based on the percentage gain. There it is. We get more of a boost from this. Now you add the off tank, you add the main tank, you add the troller, and all of a sudden that health boost and the might boost from the UG applied to your DPS is the applied to the DPS. The UG with all these health exceeds 15,000 might. By not allocating the associated points into the health, right, we're ineffectively not taking advantage of the maximum potential of the stats. So these are diminishing returns. Same thing applies. If I want to go ahead and get more power, what would I want to do? I would want to get this up to 10% because it doesn't exceed it. If I keep putting everything in to only one pool, which this is still a primary up to cap, I'm still, ineffectively hindering myself and my party. And that is the law of diminishing marginal returns. So, I hope that helps. Irish, what's up, man? Hi, dude, how you doing? I like it, Ross. What's up, Ross? You know what we would be a great power for this game? Cybernetic, dude, that would be awesome. I feel it, Ross. Dude, Irish, if you ever play this, you better get a hold of me. I want to play with you. It's a support role would be controller, right? Have a giant laser or something. Dude, I'm feeling that. Irish, man, let me know when you move, dude. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. So, yes. Is there diminishing returns present? Yes. We have to understand how associated scaling is affected by the diminishing return. So, it's not to say that you don't want to allocate the points that you're acquiring into your primary stat, but at some point you're not getting any extra out of it if you overlook the other attributes that are present. Like, for example, as a healer, I don't necessarily need to put into the vitalization or the dominance. But would it benefit me to go ahead and put into the precision if I'm going ahead and clipping weapon attacks with abilities? Of course. Of course. It's exactly like the CP system, the old CP system in ESO. And a lot of people will be like, well, they're 700 or whatever, but at some point they're going to hit the wall, right? Where are you going to reallocate? Now, here's the biggest thing. The biggest thing about it is taking advantage of even, look at this. So you have critical weapon and critical. So if I was a smart player and I knew about these caps, right, and associated scaling, what would I want to do? What would I want to do? Well, that's simple, right? I already know I don't need anything over 350 to be effective. You know, why? Well, it's simple, you know. So I'm going to go back in. We're going to go ahead and take this. Once again, we want to take advantage of these base caps. But here's the kicker. I'm going to also take the things that are going to increase my weapon capability attacks. I'm going to at least take the 100% into my restoration. I'm going to take the 100% that buffs my party's health, thus increasing their might capability from the associated scaling. I'm going to take, points into what? Also, my power. So, I mean, I can take it into whatever. But now watch what ends up happening. Now, I have a much higher capability to also crit on my weapon attacks. Now, let's say I don't want to do that, but I can. Now, I can crit my weapon attacks as I'm healing. And then when we heal, we get the health boost. And now we have critical weapon output. Ta-da! So it's literally taking advantage. Dude, shut up. Gotta run. Have a good stream. Dude, married life kicking my butt. I love you, brother. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, brother. I love you to death. You are all you. Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Irish. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, it's not to say that you don't want to go ahead and not allocate points, but at some point, it's a diminishing return if you're not taking advantage of the associated scaling. You can't get around mathematical law, okay? You can't, but you can exploit it. If you know how these numbers are relevant to associated scaling, to the diminishing return, you can exploit the difference and take advantage of group composition. Because the group composition in this game is associated to the artifact passive buffs that are being applied. Ergo, would I want to keep spending all of my points in my primary stat when passives are being applied in the background? The resounding answer is no. Just wanted to do this stream. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, man. I love you guys. I love you all to death. Man, I love you guys. I've always had the best viewers, and you know what we do? We always go back to the fundamentals. In any game we play, we stick to the fundamentals. It doesn't change. The game may change, but the math never does. As always, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. I am humbled, I am blessed, and it's my pleasure to serve. Have a nice day.